The morning mist over Addis Ababa now carries the weight of ambition, a future imagined in the hum of atoms. Thousands of kilometers away, Moscow's leaders share this ambition, now formalized in a plan to build Ethiopia's first nuclear power plant. This is not just about a building, but about a nation of over 120 million making a monumental bet on its future, with Russia as its partner. Picture a secured site in the Ethiopian highlands, where earth is moved and foundations are laid for a nuclear reactor that could light up millions of homes. The vision silent, ceaseless energy flowing into the national grid, a stark contrast to the power cuts that have long defined daily life. On September 25th, 2025, simultaneous ceremonies in Addis Ababa and Moscow cement the agreement. For Ethiopia, it's a bold step toward energy independence. For Russia, a strategic return to Africa through technology and finance. This agreement ripples outward, touching daily life and global geopolitics. It's a story of development and risk, embracing a technology that demands perfection, with consequences for failure. As blueprints are drawn and engineers begin training, a question hangs in the air. Is this the dawn of a new era or the start of a perilous dependency? Ethiopia, the cradle of humanity, is bursting with potential, but its progress is hampered by a chronic electricity shortage. Over 40% of Ethiopians live without reliable power, a barrier to education, health, and economic growth. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam was meant to electrify the nation, but even its massive output can't keep up with soaring demand. Reliance on hydropower has exposed a critical vulnerability: the unpredictable climate. Droughts can plunge industries and homes into darkness, forcing planners to confront the limits of the Nile. Ethiopia's future demands a more resilient energy mix. Enter nuclear power, a solution not dependent on rainfall, capable of providing a constant baseline of electricity. The government's $30 billion infrastructure plan calls for a power source that can fuel industrial parks and growing cities. The dream to power progress, from rural schools to bustling factories, and break free from the fragility of the past. The nuclear decision is a high-stakes response to Ethiopia's urgent need for reliable, transformative energy. The September 2025 agreement was years in the making, a deepening partnership between Ethiopia and Russia's Rosatom. Rosatom, a global nuclear giant, offers not just reactors but technology, finance, and influence. The deal is a foundational framework, outlining technical and economic assessments, planning, and eventual construction. It builds on a 2017 accord for peaceful nuclear cooperation, now expanded to a full-scale project. Rosatom will provide advanced VVAIR 1200 reactor technology, manage the project lifecycle, and train Ethiopian scientists and engineers. Ethiopia lacks domestic expertise, so Russia's knowledge transfer is crucial. Ethiopian specialists will train in Russia, learning plant operations, safety, and governance. This partnership aims to create not just a power plant, but a new high-tech industry in Ethiopia. The handshake in Addis Ababa marks a commitment to a deeply intertwined future. For Ethiopia, it's a leap into atomic energy. For Russia, a strategic foothold in Africa. The stage is set for a transformative long-term alliance. Ethiopia's nuclear decision is driven by the need for massive, reliable power. Unlike solar, wind, or even hydropower, nuclear plants provide baseload power running 24/7 for years, fueling a modern economy. In a climate crisis era, nuclear offers clean energy with virtually no operational emissions. Ethiopia aims to industrialize without the carbon footprint of fossil fuels, diversifying away from hydropower's climate risks. The planned 2 reactors, each 1,200 megawatts, nearly half the output of the Grand Renaissance Dam. The first reactor could come online by 2032, with talk of flexible small modular reactors for the future. This is a bid to escape the tyranny of geography and climate, seizing control of the nation's energy destiny. It's a gamble, but one the government sees as essential for a future where progress isn't hostage to the weather. The nuclear project promises a massive boost to Ethiopia's power grid, closing the country's energy deficit. Reliable electricity means more than lights. It powers schools, hospitals, and businesses, transforming daily life. The plant is a catalyst for industrialization, enabling factories, parks, and foreign investment. Construction and operation will create thousands of jobs and build a skilled workforce. With nuclear and hydropower, Ethiopia could become a major energy exporter, strengthening its economy and regional influence. The partnership with Rosatom includes training for Ethiopian scientists and engineers, building a domestic knowledge base. The nuclear sector's strict standards could elevate science, technology, and governance across the country. The hope, not just power, but a legacy of innovation and national transformation. The Ethiopia-Russia nuclear deal is a major move on Africa's geopolitical chessboard. For Russia, it's a strategic victory, expanding influence in Africa by offering technology and investment without Western strings. For Ethiopia, it's a pragmatic pivot, diversifying alliances and gaining a powerful partner on the UN Security Council. The timing is deliberate. Russia is also finalizing nuclear deals with Niger, signaling a continent-wide strategy. These long-term partnerships bind nations together for decades, reshaping dependencies and influence. The deal forces the US, EU, and China to reassess their roles in Africa's future. African nations are leveraging rival powers to secure the best deals, fundamentally altering international dynamics. The promise of nuclear energy comes with daunting challenges. The cost is staggering, tens of billions, often financed by loans that could burden Ethiopia for generations. Safety is paramount, especially in Ethiopia's seismically active Rift Valley, adding complexity and risk. Disasters like Chernobyl and Fukushima are stark reminders of what's at stake. Ethiopia must build a flawless safety regime from scratch. Nuclear waste remains hazardous for millennia. Russia will help manage it. But this deepens long-term dependency. The reactors require Russian technology, fuel, and expertise, giving Moscow leverage over Ethiopia's energy security. If relations sour, this dependency could become a tool of coercion. Ethiopia is trading climate vulnerability for a new reliance on a single foreign power. Ethiopia's nuclear gamble will echo across Africa. Success could inspire Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, and Uganda to pursue their own nuclear ambitions. A functioning plant would make Ethiopia a regional energy anchor, fostering integration and economic growth. But it could also spark new tensions if seen as an unfair advantage. Failure, cost overruns, safety incidents, or delays would chill Africa's nuclear hopes for decades. The stakes are immense. Success means energy abundance and a blueprint for the continent. Failure risks economic and environmental disaster. Ethiopia is conducting a high-stakes experiment that could define Africa's energy future. The world, and especially Africa, is watching with bated